and then you load accumulator A um, equal to this number to control the PTP to determine which digit is on, and then you keep branch over to creating a loop. Okay, so after you copy and paste this code into your assembler, assemble it, download it to your board, and execute it, you should notice that you should be able to using certain switches to control the 7-segment display. The details I'm not going to cover because that's, I believe, is required for you in your lab report, so you need to figure that out. But overall, if you break down this piece of program, it seems like you are reading input from the switches, and then you utilize those inputs to control your 7-segment display. That's the overall idea for this piece of program. Okay, so up to this point, any question about this program?
Samson, the difference between PTH and PTP is the PTP is just to make the 7-segment display to control the background, like the ground, right? That means to just display which
Yes.
segment I have to use or choose, like to turn on the 4 or the 1 or the 2, whichever. But when I apply the PTH, that means I'm adding a controlling dip switch.
Yes.
Okay.
So notice that how we use those two port also differently. Like when we're playing with port PTP, we just hand choosing a number, and then we put it into the port, right? We put it basically. It's kind of like it's happening over here. We hand pick a number. In this case, this is this, and then we just stop it into PTP, and then as a result, we determine which digit is turned on and off. But the way we're using the PTH, the dip switch, we don't assign any number to PTH. And actually, it's the opposite. We read from the PTH by using this LDAA and SDAA instruction over here, this pair of instruction here. We read from the component, and then we use the number we read, feedback into port B to be as the input.
Okay.
So the way we use the two port over here are different. One is used as output. One is used as just to configure which component is on and off, and one is used as the input to the whole program.
Okay. One more thing. For example, if I make my LDAA to when I assign my PTP on the second one, if I make all of them 0, let's say 8 of them, like the entire bit, that means I turn on the entire, like 4 of the
Yes.
segment display on my board. And because of the PTH, now I can just really assign any number I want to display on that 7-segment from the dip switch, which is a switch 1 on my board, right?
Yes. And when you're using your PTH to control them, you are basically control all the display at once.
Okay.
Right? Remember that they're all connected to port B, all controlled by port B. So if you move any switches, they're all going to be reflect at all the four all the four display.
Okay, I see.
Okay. Okay. So because of time, let's just briefly take a look at the rest of the two section here. Okay, so now the second section, display more than one number. To display one or more number, we must turn off one digit, move it to the next digit, and we must have sufficient delay. Oh, okay, so my bad. So actually, is this request to display more than one different number in 4-digit into this lab manual. So we do need to do that. So if you for more information about this, you can always look back at the extra reading material that I just covered. But yeah, we do need to perform that. And for that, okay, so it's still another download and run. So if you want some challenge, you can definitely try to expand from the code into the first section. See if you can create your own software. But here, I believe Professor Wegdi also kind enough to provide the link to just go to find the code. So you can also do that if you have really no clue how to do it. Download and run the same program. And here, the program is called displaying number. And after making sure the program work, you can decrease or increase the delay size to see what happened. So that brings back to the topic I just covered with one of the students' question. So basically, you can also tweak the delay to be determined how fast it is switching between different digits. Okay, and at the same time, I think I just realized I kind of missed a chat. Let me take a look if I missed something here. So we only show. Okay, I'm not sure. It says check it out, a chat window. I thought it would ask me to check the chat because there's like some question missing, but it seems like we are not missing anything here from the chat. So we only show number 2.
That wasn't what I was saying,
Yes.
Samson.
Sorry?
I
Again?
was just happy you haven't disabled the chat window so that we could like communicate.
Oh, okay.
Because
the professor
agree.
already mentioned why he disabled the chat. Because the first time like this Monday I joined the class at 6 o'clock and he already started. So I probably missed something. So did he mention anything about that?
no, it just was gone one day.
Okay. So probably that'll be too much, overhead for his PC. I don't know. So yeah, yeah. So for me, I'm not I rather happy that the chat exists in our section. So okay, so there's no question here. Let's just move ahead. Okay. So the third part, write a program to count out the display, to count up and display the count on 7-second display. This is wait. Okay, let me take a look. Write a program to count out and display the count. So probably you need to display from 0 to 9.
Yes.
And it says that this is a 8-bit counter. Let me take a look. What does that matter? What is that? How is that the case? I'm not 100% sure what is mean here. What is the 8-bit counter? Why is that is like saying that specifically? But it seems like for this one, you just need to write in your program to kind of like gradually count from 0 all the way to 9. And while counting, also like reflect that result, like your current count on with the LED display. So after you're done, you should expect that it's still going to be an infinite loop, and it will display from 0 to 9, and then jump back to 0 and all the way to 9 again. Okay, so this is
it just a one 7-segment display or all of the 7-segment display?
For me, it doesn't make too much of a difference because basically you can just pick one of them or you can use all of them. So because that's just a matter of tweaking your configuration at the port PTP. So I'm not gonna judge on like how many of the display you turn on and off. I think the focus
That's my. I have a question about that part, Samson.
let me finish that part first. So the focus of this part is just to successfully display 0 to 9 secretly, and it doesn't matter of how many display you use. Okay, so go ahead. What's your question?
My question is like, so then for this part of the lab, do we just want to have the LED run as in go from 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., or do we want to use the dip switches as in like use of the first 3 dip switches? So like, okay, the first dip switch you turn it on, it shows 1. Turn on the second, it shows 3. Turn off the first one, it shows 2. Or do you want to see do you want to use all dip switches, and then when we turn on a certain sequence of the dip switches, it displays 2, and then it displays 3, and etc. Which like that's without I'm stuck in that part.
I think the section 2 and section 3 are different section, and only the section 2 is interacting with the dip switch. And
Okay.
section 3 is just asking you to, you know, build a counter. So you don't have to kind of like using those dip switches to realize, you know,
Okay.
displaying different number.
Okay.
And yeah, so you probably don't need to do that. Mhm.
All right. So just like 0, 1, 2, 3 on the display, and that's it, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. And then just like, do you want pictures of like from like, or do you just want the report and then the code on the report?
Okay. So for this one, okay, let me take a look. I heard some echo. Okay, okay, disappear. Okay, so for this one, let's just take a look one by one. Okay, so for the first section, it says that
Yeah.
copy and paste this code,
Yes.
and then see what happens. So pretty much this one is just, you probably just need a picture on your board
Okay.
to show that, okay, I'm able to display it too.
Okay.
And if you would like, you can also kind of like describe this situation with paragraph as well, either way.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that will be included in your report. And for the
Okay.
second section, it says that now you have to display more than one number. So for sure, you need to download and run the program. Or
Okay.
if you want to try your own program, you can also attach your ASM program for me, so I can do some debug for you to see
Okay.
if it's anything wrong with it. And
Yeah.
it says after making sure the program work, it says reduce or increase the delay and see what happens. So another case, you can either take picture or you can describe in text. Okay, so I tweak the delay into what number and what happened. Like right now, this display is like showing like within a significant display, or it actually having some weird like reaction on the board.
Yeah.
So I believe this part is better to capture with words, because I think the picture is hard to do adjusted here to capture the delay between different sections. So I would recommend to use paragraphs, writing paragraphs to describe what you observe. But
Okay.
if you manage to, you know, using pictures to describe it properly, you can definitely do so as well.
Okay.
And say now change the data to display the year of your high school. So just have to give me a successful picture,
Okay.
and that should be good.
Okay.
And the last
so-
one, it says write a program. And so for this one, it doesn't ask you to, you know, observe anything or, you know, giving any response. So you just have to submit your ASM file. And